Althrimir here with another video, and today we are getting to even more insane reports coming out now. Microsoft, let's just dive right into it. Obsidian reportedly cancels Avowed 2 to focus on a new Fallout game. Obsidian Entertainment is pulling the plug on a sequel to Avowed in favor of a new Fallout game. Now, I've heard, I have not gotten too far into this video, but I've also heard that it wasn't exactly Obsidian Entertainment's choice in this, that Microsoft canceled it for them. But we shall see what it says here. Bloomberg reports that Obsidian has scrapped plans for Avowed 2 and other unannounced projects to focus on a new Fallout game led by Josh Sawyer. Sawyer was reportedly working on a different RPG that was structurally similar to Fallout prior to this. He also served as lead designer and project director on Fallout New Vegas, one of the most beloved games in the franchise. Bethesda, the studio that has overseen the Fallout franchise for nearly 2 decades, will work with Obsidian on the project. A small group of staff will continue to work on Avowed 2 with the hopes of reviving the project later down the line. Yeah, that's not going to happen as long as you work for Microsoft there, guys. The news comes as part of Xbox's big reset, which has resulted in thousands of layoffs in addition to Microsoft parting ways with a handful of first-party teams such as Undead Labs. Bloomberg reports that a quarter of Obsidian was laid off as well. The news of a new Fallout from Obsidian is likely very exciting news to fans. However, Fallout New Vegas is a fan favorite. It was pretty good in the franchise, and the IP hasn't had a new mainline single player game in over a decade. Thank you, Bethesda. This is what I'm saying. Fallout 76 and MMO style post-open universe, but it's not. Fallout 76 doesn't have the same effect that Elder Scrolls Online has, I think. You know, I knew this was going to happen. You know, from the very day that it was announced that there was a Fallout series on Amazon, I'm like, Bethesda's like a decade or more away from Fallout 5. And there's absolutely no way, unless the Fallout series goes as long as fucking NCIS and fucking Law and Order on TV, there's no fucking way that the show is still going to be active when that series is still out. So therefore, they're going to miss out on probably, well, we'll just say a lot of money instead of trying to calculate it here. And I had a feeling that Microsoft was going to be like, we are done waiting on your ass. And this is what's happening. And my first thought was, how can they do this? Bethesda owns the IP. No, they don't. Not anymore. Microsoft owns Bethesda, so therefore they own the IP. Bethesda has lost the control over their own games now. Microsoft can come up to Bethesda and be like, guess what? You're taking too long. Fuck you. Your game is now going to be made by Obsidian. And you have forced us to cancel Obsidian's other games because you guys are just twiddling your thumbs with Starfield, which was basically a loading screen simulator with 1,000 empty planets, hoping modders would save it. Because that's all Starfield was. Honestly, that's all it was. Bethesda saw what modders were able to do with Skyrim and went, Jesus, imagine if we gave them entire planets. Holy shit. Yeah, well, the reason why Skyrim worked is because Skyrim as a base game was great. Starfield base game, not so much. Now, I have divided feelings about this. I saw this happening for one. You know, as I said in my other video, the problem with Avowed was that it was a B+ game in an ocean of B+ games. Same thing with the Outer Worlds franchise. The Outer Worlds 2 wasn't as good, but Outer Worlds 1, again, it's a B plus game in an ocean of B pluses. I mean, it doesn't stand out, you know. And while I'm sad that Avowed is gone, you know, I really am sad. This makes sense because there's no way Bethesda's gonna get Fallout 5 out before that game, before that TV series is over. No way. Zero chance. The only question I have when it comes to Obsidian Entertainment being pulled to make a new Fallout game is, one, is it a spinoff? Actually, I guess I have a couple questions. One, is it a spinoff like Fallout New Vegas was? Or is it Fallout 5? You know, and two, what happens to Grounded? As much as people have given crap over Avowed and the Outer Worlds, and Grounded's one of their better games. I like Grounded. I really like Grounded too. I mean, I only played a little bit of it, but I really enjoyed it. So what happens to that now? I will say this. I wonder, because I've also read, I think it was in my other video, maybe I forgot to mention it, but it you know, like they're having ID Software help machine games, and they're having, you know, all these, what was originally independent studios like Bethesda. Hey, well, they make, even though they're under one umbrella of Xbox Game Studios or Microsoft, every game studio had its own property. ID Software was Doom, you know, Bethesda had Fallout and Elder Scrolls, and you know, Obsidian had Avowed and the Outer Worlds and Grounded, but now it's like, okay, well, you know what? No, you don't. Microsoft is going, we own you now. You're ours. Those properties that you think are independent to your names are not anymore. We own them. We own Elder Scrolls. We own Fallout. We own Grounded. And you know what? You guys are going to all start working together and make us games and make us money. Because that's what it seems like it's happening. Some of these studios, probably every studio that is under the ZeniMax Media Incorporated umbrella, with some other studios blanketed around like Obsidian. Because Obsidian, they're not under ZeniMax Media, but they've worked with Bethesda. So they are like immediately tied to them now. You know, and it's going to be like, you know what? You guys are all going to be basically one giant studio. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and said, now, instead of having all these separate studios, you guys are all under the Xbox Game Studios. You guys, that's what you are now. That's your new umbrella. This is the new structure. Deal with it. If you don't deal with it, bye-bye. That's what I think. That's what I'm thinking is happening here. You know, am I excited about Obsidian making a new Fallout game? I don't know. If they've cut a quarter, if they're a quarter of the team, I don't know if I'm excited about that. Like right here, they cut a quarter of Obsidian, who was already under such pressure to put out titles that they had to put out 3 titles in 1 year because they were under so much pressure to get these titles out. They couldn't just work on them, and it backfired. I think it's kind of a situation, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you do what Bethesda's doing, which is taking way too much goddamn time between games, their last successful game was 2014. 12 years ago. 2014. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. And that failed. That's failing. Microsoft is looking at them going, you guys were once a juggernaut. And now you're like, you've been deflated because you guys haven't put out a hit since 2014. And Obsidian goes, "Oh, we'll rush out these titles." And while the games were at least a B plus, they didn't stand out. Now, had they been able to work on them, maybe space them out a little bit, work on them more, blah blah blah, maybe they could have been A plus games, but they weren't. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm worried that Obsidian is not going to have the force, the team to put a Fallout game together based on what Bethesda wants to do with Fallout 5, unless they make a smaller Fallout 5 in the size of like a small Fallout 4 size game. Because if you remember the reports for Fallout 5 is they wanted it to be gigantic. That might be something Obsidian can do. So unless it's a spinoff, this might be Fallout 5. Now, if they're just starting it now, that's also not great. If they're just starting it now, unless they get a huge team, now they could. Fallout 5 is just a shooter. They could take a couple of studios that do shooters instead of closing them. They could say, you know what, we're going to put you here, we're going to put you there, we're going to put you with Obsidian, we're going to team up 2, 3, 4 studios with Obsidian, and you guys are going to work on Fallout together. Deal with it. This just proves that they need to get away from Microsoft. Xbox needs to get away from Microsoft and just go independent somehow. Or ZeniMax needs to go like, hey, see ya. And while I feel bad for Bethesda, I feel bad for everybody that's suffering under this, especially people who have lost their jobs. That is just not good. I mean, those are families, man. That's insane. That's fucked up. But at the same time, it's like, well, then maybe you shouldn't have sold your company to them. Like Obsidian, I don't think Obsidian sold their company. I have to look this up. I think Obsidian was almost always under Xbox, I think. Maybe not. Anyway, they're a smaller studio. Regardless, they weren't as big as Bethesda was. Bethesda, ZeniMax Media did not need Microsoft, and they sold to them out of greed, and this is what they get. They're losing control over their own IPs. They just are. I'm really surprised Microsoft didn't be like, when's the next Elder Scrolls coming out? 2028. Are you guys on glue? Get the meth out of Todd's fucking office and start working on the goddamn game. I'm surprised they didn't pull that IP away from Bethesda too. Because it was, if you don't know, Obsidian, before Obsidian came up with Avowed, Obsidian actually offered Bethesda to work on an Elder Scrolls game. This was after Skyrim. An Elder Scrolls game in the same vein as New Vegas. Like a spinoff of Skyrim. Bethesda said no. And now look at this. It's, what, 15 years later? 15. Like, it's just missed opportunities. That's all it is. Bethesda never should have made Fallout 76. They should have said, hey, we have this idea for an MMO. We actually have a studio working on an MMO right now. Why don't we give that to them? Make their party bigger, make their team bigger. They brought in a team to make another game, right? That Project Blackbird game. What if they said, you know what, instead of you guys doing that, before they even came up with the idea of that, they just said, you know what, you guys are talking about building a team for another game. Why don't you make this Fallout game for us? We had an idea, make Fallout 76 is what we're calling it. Why don't you guys just make this for us? You're already making an MMO. ESO is, at the time, was getting a lot bigger and better. Why don't you do that for us? Boom. Now Bethesda doesn't have to pay attention to that. Starfield, again, maybe you don't even do Starfield. Starfield was just a gigantic miss. It's like going to play basketball and you're going there with a beach ball. It's not going to work. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm happy that Obsidian is working on a Fallout game, but I'm cautious because they don't really have a big team right now, and they're under immense pressure from Microsoft to produce something before the TV series ends. And I do wonder if we're going to get somewhere down the line, maybe a month, maybe tomorrow, maybe before this video comes out, you know, that now instead of having Bethesda and Arcane and Machine Games and ID Software and Obsidian, and there's gonna be like 7 to 8 studios that are gonna merge under the umbrella of just Xbox Game Studios, and they're just gonna be like called different things, like Xbox Game Studios Bethesda, Xbox, you know what I mean? Like it, because that's what it seems like right now. Microsoft is flexing, and they're going, "Oh, you guys think you own your IPs? Oh, that's adorable. No, we own them now. You sign contracts. We own your soul." So no, you're taking too long. And oh, Obsidian, oh, you listened to us and pushed out those titles. Oh, but they didn't do well because you didn't polish them. Oh, so fuck your sequels and work on this instead. Oh, we don't care if it's Bethesda's game. It's not Bethesda's game. No, sorry, we don't care. No, we want money because Fallout's on TV, and well, at this rate, you know, we're gonna be in Fallout territory before this game comes out. So yeah, no, I don't know. I'm a little worried of where this is going. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you all in the next video.